What's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to episode 16 of Bills with BK. This is the very first episode of the new 2024 NFL season. Training camp just started on Wednesday for the Buffalo Bills, and man, could not be more excited for the 2024 season to kick off. A lot of big changes in the offseason, a lot of shaking up happening in the Bills organization. Obviously with Stephon Diggs going to the Texans, Gabriel Davis going to the Jaguars. Mitch Morse also going to the Jaguars. No more Jordan Poyer. Probably no more Micah Hyde. Leonard Floyd went to the 49ers. I mean, the list goes on and on of all the changes. The good news is that everybody's coming in super healthy right now. Everybody has been getting in full practices so far in training camp, including Matt Milano. I will say he did look like he was walking a little bit gingerly in this video, as you can see when he was walking back to the sideline. Not super concerning, though. It's very early in training camp. I think that we have a really good shot of having him at full health, good to go on week one, but obviously something to monitor. But not super surprising since he did come off a huge injury last year. So, of course, when he's just getting back into practice, he's not going to be going 100% right away. It's going to take him a little bit, I think, to be looking like his complete self. But either way, not super concerned about it. Just glad to have him as a full participant with training camp kicking off. Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman have been having some nice touchdowns in training camp so far. Chase Claypool did tweak his right leg on the first day, but it wasn't anything serious. He was back out there day 2, and then again on day 3. So not super concerning. It is looking like Valdez-Scantling, who was a new pickup in the offseason, is looking like the clear wide receiver 4 on the first few days of practice. Obviously, it's a little early to tell because you got guys like Chase Claypool and Matt Collins who are going to be gunning for that wide receiver 4 spot. But at this very moment, it is looking like he's the wide receiver 4. But I do think it's pretty safe to say that our top 3 wide receivers are going to be Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Curtis Samuel. Not necessarily in that order because anybody could emerge as wide receiver 1. I think the plan is for Keon Coleman to be that guy at wide receiver 1. But of course, he's going to take a little bit to transition in the NFL. He is a rookie, so we can't put too much pressure on him. Let's just run through our top 3 wide receivers to start off, starting with Curtis Samuel. He was an interesting pickup in the offseason. He's very versatile. I think he's going to be Gabriel Davis's replacement. And if you look at his career so far in the NFL, Curtis Samuel is one of those guys that has never really had a good quarterback. Definitely has not played with a quarterback even close to Josh Allen. So I think he's a really interesting pickup because his stats have been pretty comparable to Gabriel Davis's. But obviously Gabriel Davis has had Josh Allen these last couple of years. Now, if you look at the quarterbacks that Curtis Samuel has played with, 2017, 2018, he had Cam Newton, probably the best quarterback that he did play for. But I would have to say, not as good as Josh Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, and then last year, Sam Howell. So, honestly, none of these quarterbacks really compare to Josh Allen. I mean, you could argue that Cam Newton definitely has a little Josh Allen-esque to him with his rushing ability and being a dual-threat quarterback. But nonetheless, I think it's safe to say that Josh Allen will be the best quarterback that Curtis Samuel has ever played with. So, if he can put up Gabriel Davis numbers last year with Sam Howell, and then before that, Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, none of these guys are really studs. So to see what he can do with Josh Allen is exciting. He's very versatile. I think he'll be Gabriel Davis' replacement. And honestly, he's probably a little bit better than Gabriel Davis. So I think that he will probably be close to a wide receiver 2, but Shakir being the only wide receiver that Josh Allen has played with on this team anymore, I think that Shakir has the edge on Curtis Samuel. I think it's going to go Keon Coleman, Shakir, and then Curtis Samuel. Maybe not right away because Keon Coleman is going to need some time adjusting to the NFL. But luckily, these are pretty decent wide receivers to lean on in the meantime while he's still getting acclimated to the NFL. So let's jump into Khalil Shakir. Now, here's a clip of Shakir against the Steelers in the playoff wildcard game last year. And he was showing some kind of Diggs finesse here. The touchdown that Diggs had in week 4 against the Dolphins when he shook off that tackle and then scored a touchdown. This is Shakir doing that in a playoff game last year. The last time that Stephon Diggs was really performing at a high level for us in the playoffs was when we played the Patriots back in 2022 in the wildcard game where we had a statement win over them 47-17. That was the last time that I really saw Stephon Diggs putting in work in the playoffs for us. Since then, in the playoffs, let's be honest, Stephon Diggs really hasn't done anything for us. So to have Shakir early in his career putting up like this in the playoffs for us as soon as last year is more than I could say for Diggs, who hasn't really had a strong playoff performance for us since 2022 in that game against the Patriots. So I'm just saying, everyone wants to act like it's such a big deal that we lost Diggs in the offseason, but we've got other playmakers on this offense. Now let's talk about Keon Coleman. Before I even get into comparing Keon Coleman with Stephon Diggs, before I even get into comparing their ball skills, right? Obviously, Diggs has the edge starting the season this year. Keon Coleman is a rookie. Stephon Diggs is a seasoned veteran. One of the better players in the league. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But before I even go into comparing their ball skills, who obviously Stephon Diggs has the edge on right now at this very moment, beginning of the season, let's talk about this guy's as a person. I mean, this guy is fucking awesome. All right, he's funny as shit. He's way more charismatic than Diggs. He's not a diva. He doesn't dress like a fucking weirdo, all right? So it's nice this time that I'm getting a wide receiver one that doesn't embarrass me on Instagram every week, wearing some funny shit. I mean, look at these pics. Just look at this. Here he is wearing a skirt. I don't know what that is. Next one, he's got some giant colorful sleeve sweater on. Guy's looking like a homeless Kanye West. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, but I'm going to stop trolling him. I'm being a little mean. But Keon Coleman, I will say, is a much better prospect coming out of college than Stephon Diggs was. Stephon Diggs was a 5th-round pick. Keon Coleman is a 2nd-round pick. Could have very easily been a 1st-round pick. The only reason that Keon Coleman didn't get drafted in the 1st round and fell to us in the beginning of the 2nd was because of his really slow 40-yard dash. But he also had the fastest gauntlet drill time at 20 miles per hour, and that's real game time speed. That's what matters. So people like to put a lot of emphasis on your 40 time, and of course, it matters. It's a factor, but I'd rather have a guy with good game speed, and because of that slow 40 time, he was able to fall to us when he did. So I'm not complaining. With guys like Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Dalton Kincaid, I mean, they're going to be able to pick up the slack while he's developing in the meantime. So I think we're in a pretty good situation. I'm not saying that Keon Coleman's not going to have some NFL growing pains at the beginning, but it's not hard to imagine that, down the road, Keon could very easily surpass Diggs in his talent. On the one hand, you got Keon Coleman, nice young 21-year-old, and you got Stephon Diggs, who's 30, who turns 31 at the beginning of the season. I think that when you look at the overall picture, it's better to have a young prospect like Keon Coleman than an aging veteran like Stephon Diggs. And let's be honest, he was dropping passes. Dropped a huge pass for us in that playoff game against the Chiefs. I think we're all still remembering that big 60-yard bomb Josh Allen hit Diggs right in the hands. Oh, man, I can still just see it right now. And that was bad, man. So, for me, that's kind of the sour taste I have in my mouth, Stephon Diggs. So, the other advantage to this coming season for us is that we're no longer a completely predictable offense. We're no longer a one-trick pony with Stephon Diggs, where, the defense just has to double cover Diggs and take out our main weapon and have us figured out. Now, we're going to be a much more unpredictable offense. They're not really going to know who to double cover. You double Keon Coleman, you're going to have Kincaid open. You're going to have to pick your poison, but there's a lot of very able bodies out in the field. I'll take it for the factor of us simply having a more unpredictable offense without Diggs. We're no longer a one-trick pony, all right? Also hearing that Von Miller is showing some good bursts so far in training camp, which is, good to hear. Obviously, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. After last year, he was pretty rough for us, I'll be honest. Pretty disappointing, but he was coming off a big injury, so I think we might have been a little harsh on him. So I'm going into this season just hoping to get a little bit of the old Von Miller back, and as I think we all are. Also, I'm excited to see how our safety room will shape out. Obviously, with the departure of Jordan Poyer and most likely the departure of Micah Hyde, who will probably retire. But we don't know yet. The door is not closing in completely, until the season starts. We won't really know until I think the first few weeks of training camp if Micah Hyde is completely out of the picture. But as of right now, you got to assume that Micah Hyde is out of the picture, and obviously Jordan Poyer went to the Dolphins, which I'm not going to lie. That one hurt. I know that Jordan Poyer, maybe lost a little bit of step in his age, but I would have loved to see him retire as a Buffalo Bill. I'm not going to lie. That was probably the most sour I was with an offseason move. I understand why they did it, but I do think it was a little cutthroat because Jordan Poyer probably only has one more year left in the NFL. So It sucks that we couldn't just let him retire as a Buffalo Bill, but all the best of luck to him. Got nothing but love for Jordan Poyer. I hope he balls out with the Dolphins, just not against us. But yeah, I'm excited to see how our safety room shapes out. You got some interesting prospects with Cole Bishop, who we drafted in the second round. Obviously, he's also going to need some time adjusting to the NFL. So I think early on, the starting safeties to begin the season are going to be Mike Edwards and Taylor Rapp, with Cole Bishop rotating in frequently. And he may emerge faster than we think. He may be our starting safety by midway through the season. I just wouldn't bank on it happening right away. Obviously, the guy's going to need a little bit of time acclimating to the NFL. We are a young team right now with a lot of potential. Most of the supporting cast around Josh Allen is in their early 20s. Obviously, Josh Allen being 28 years old, and then everybody surrounding him being in their early to mid-20s. Even though some of the offseason moves did hurt, they were the right moves at the end of the day. Got nothing but love for Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer and Mitch Morse, but they are getting up there. And Tre'Davious White just couldn't stay healthy, unfortunately. But that was another one that, really stung, seeing him go in the offseason. Not ideal, but again, it had to happen, and I do wish him the best of luck playing over there with the Rams. It's funny, though, because this is going to be a big prove-it year for Josh Allen, because I think the majority of the NFL world knows that Josh Allen is a beast. It's undeniable. He's the second best quarterback in the league. One could argue that Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the league, but I think most of the NFL world is on the same page with me that Josh Allen's number 2, Patrick Mahomes is number 1. And I would have even put Burrow ahead of Josh Allen. I hate to say it with how he played against us year before last in that divisional round when we got beat at home by the Bengals. It was not pretty. And after that game, I'm not going to lie, I said to myself, all right, Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen. But now seeing how he's a little bit more injury prone, I got to put Josh Allen ahead of him. Your best ability is your availability. So I think that a lot of people are kind of counting us out. I think when you hear about the AFC favorites, you hear people talk about the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. Obviously, rightfully so. I get it. Those are all very good teams, but you can't count us out. We're still in the mix. We don't have Stephon Diggs anymore. We don't have Gabriel Davis. I do still think that we have the right pieces to put together a hell of a football team. And it's going to be exciting to see how it goes with Joe Brady having his first full year as our offensive coordinator. I'm excited to see how that pans out. Right now, it feels like we have a lot of wide receiver 2s. You don't really know who's going to step into that wide receiver 1 role just yet. Keon Coleman is the favorite to take on that role, but he's going to need some time to adjust again. But I'm just excited to see Josh Allen go 5th year in a row with scoring 40-plus touchdowns. And then what are people going to say? That he was carried by his team after we lost Stephon Diggs and we lost Gabriel Davis? No. Those guys' main argument was that he was carried by Diggs. So watch Josh Allen. Keep your receipts. Watch Josh Allen go a 5th year in a row with 40-plus touchdowns. Calling it right now. And then the few haters that are out there that hate on Josh Allen will be silenced because their argument will have collapsed themselves when we still have Josh Allen score 40-plus touchdowns. But with young guys like James Cook emerging, finally giving Josh Allen a lot of help last year, we hadn't had a 1,000-yard rushing running back since LaShawn McCoy. So seeing James Cook get going last year, break that 1,000-yard threshold of rushing, that was awesome. I think he's only going to get better. I think he's going to be a big part of our offense this year. I'm excited to see him step into a bigger role and, further allow Josh Allen to not put the entire team on his back all the time. Because as you can see last year, when we went on that winning streak, it was because Josh Allen he didn't have to do too much. He didn't have to make bad decisions. He didn't have to do something crazy to make a play happen and then, throw an interception at quite as much because we were able to lean on the run game, finally. With young guys like James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman being developed in this offense, I do think that we will surpass our offense from last year at some point this year. I don't think it'll happen right away because it's a lot of new pieces. You've got to get in sync with Josh Allen. You got to get him used to these new weapons, but I do think as the year goes on, we will surpass our offense from last year. I really do believe that. Now, another thing I want to talk about is we were taking a lot of heat in the offseason about how we let the Kansas City Chiefs get Xavier Worthy. But honestly, if we wanted Xavier Worthy, we would have drafted him, right? So I think that it's not so much that we let the Chiefs get Worthy. We just didn't want him. they already have a big body red zone threat in Travis Kelce. We didn't really have that. So we wanted to get a guy that was sure-handed, had some size to him, 6 feet or taller, that would be a good red zone threat. And I think we have that in Keon Coleman. We wanted a big guy who could be a good red zone threat. Xavier Worthy is tiny. I'm not saying that he doesn't fit well with the Chiefs' offense. I think he's going to have success with Patrick Mahomes. I think that duo is going to be solid. I'm not saying it's not, but I just feel like our offense didn't need a little speedster like Worthy. I think we were more in need of a big-bodied wide receiver for the red zone, and that's what we got in Keon Coleman. So I'm happy with that decision. I don't think that we let the Chiefs do anything. We just didn't want him, and it's just kind of how the cards fell. But we obviously could have taken Xavier Worthy if we wanted to, and we didn't. We passed on and we got Keon Coleman. So I trust Brandon Beane. I trust McDermott. I think that they're only going to make the decisions that they think is going to help our team the most. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this new team that we got. I think that come September, we're going to roll out a very solid squad, and it's going to be more unpredictable than in past years. I think Joe Brady is only going to get more and more creative with the play calling as he gets comfortable. Another thing is we still do have some money to throw around. So I'm guessing that we will at least make one more big move in the offseason. It might not be huge. I'm not saying that we're going to go out and get Ayuk, although that would be awesome. But unfortunately, I don't think we have the cap space to afford him. I think we have about $12 million left in cap space, but that will be used somewhere. It's going to be interesting to see what Brandon Beane does with that extra cap space. But yeah, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about how our team is shaping out. Let me know what you guys think about what we're going to do with that $12 million cap space that we still have. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you want to see more content about the Bills. I'll be doing episodes every week. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. Go Bills.